If you pull those 3 levers and you pull them and execute them right, it would be unreasonable for you not to grow on YouTube. The first one, and the most important, is making sure you have a good idea. Second is the packaging, making sure that your title and your thumbnail are dialed. And third is the value in the video. If YouTube was easy, everybody would be doing it. There is some level of sacrifice. If you don't have the money to invest in it, you will have to invest some time into it.
There's tons of people that I know are struggling to show their face on social media. Let's just start there. Like, what would be some advice and tips that you'd have?
Every single time, the ones that are like faceless or AI or whatever, they convert so much less because people buy from people. People trust people. Nobody cares about you when you're starting. I know that sounds brutal. They care about one thing, and that is, what is the perceived value that I can get from this video or this person? YouTube is a game of psychology. It's a psychological game. There are thumbnails with millions of views where it's just a face and few people know, and then text. You see, oh, but what is that text doing? It's evoking massive amounts of curiosity. Any human emotion that gets somebody to click, that's the whole game of YouTube. It's like psychology. That's what I say when I say that.
For example, you've made 101K in a month from YouTube alone. What would be some things you would tell yourself to focus on?
You really have 3 core ways to make money on YouTube. You have...
Welcome, Dylan, to the podcast.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
Doing great. Great to have you here. You worked with the biggest Skool community owners. What did you help them with, and how did you start working with them?
I basically worked with a few really big Skool community owners, like Max Pearson and Logan Sendel, which I believe is one of the top earning schoolers right now. And essentially my background well, my background's a lot of things, but one of the things that I guess specialize in at the moment is YouTube. And they reached out to me. We've gotten connected and basically started working together on that. So how that happened, to answer that part of the question, was I actually originally joined Max's Skool community, and I was just really engaged. I got tons of value. I was on all the calls. I was helping a lot of other people in the group with YouTube and stuff. Yeah. And then Max started taking note. We started messaging each other, and then he started asking for a few tips, a few pointers, and then long story short, we ended up working together. And I mean, at this point, we've become friends. He's literally been out to Portugal, where I'm currently based. We've hung out together. And now, even to this day, like a year later, I'm still like, we were just on the call the other day, and we were mapping out what he's going to do for his strategy going forward on YouTube. And then Logan Sendel was kind of just like, he knew that Max has left testimonials for me, which he doesn't normally do for a lot of people. So Logan was like, hey, dude, let's chat. And then that's how I got to link up with him. And like, for example, what I've done with them, like with Logan Sendel, he literally was getting anywhere between like 40, 50 views, sometimes on a good day, 500 views a video. Like our first 2 videos back to back, one hit like 7,000 views and the next one like 16,000. And so it was, it went really well right off the bat. And basically I've just been helping them grow on YouTube and convert that traffic to whatever their object is, right? Whatever their whatever their goal is, which is either revenue or subscribers, more growth, whatever that be.
Mainly it would be, for them, communities, their paid communities, they are growing. And have you seen like the difference between the people that get low views and the people that get a lot more views? Like he was getting, like you said, a lot less views on his YouTube channel, and now he's getting a lot more views. Do you see, in terms of revenue, the difference, the improvements, or is it mainly like, because I know some people get more views and they don't make any money, and some people get less views and they make money. What's the difference between the people that are actually making money for the views that they're getting? Like,
the people who make money with YouTube, regardless of view count, are the people who have a really strong synergy between the audience, the content they make for that audience, and the offer they have to that audience. It all starts with the audience. And as long as the content speaks to them and the offer does as well, and there's synergy between those three things, you will make money and do well on YouTube, right? In terms of did it make the money? So I use a third-party tool, which will remain nameless because I don't want to, start promoting things that I have affiliate links to. But I use a third-party tool to track the revenue from every single video we do, as well as the vanity metrics, if you will, right? The social metrics. So yeah, do these videos convert? Yeah, they convert a lot of times, but it also depends on the type of video, right? Because fundamentally, you have a new audience, a casual audience, and a core audience. And depending on the type of video you make, it might be more tailored to a new audience, which means the conversions will likely be a lot less, especially if you're selling something high ticket or whatever. And if we're making a video that is super targeted to a core audience, right? And I can give you an example of what this could be in a second. Then the conversions will be a lot higher, but maybe the reach or engagement may be a little bit less in terms of view count. For example, if I wanted to make I teach YouTube education on my channel, right? How to grow on YouTube, build a business on the back end of that. If I were to make a video that's optimized for growth to a new audience, as an example's sake, all right? So don't come at me, people. Like, I'm not valid. I'm just an example. It's like how to grow to your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's very broad. It's speaking to a large total addressable market across industries, right? Across niches. Yeah. That could get, 1 million to 10 million views even. Yeah, probably even more potentially. But maybe if my offer is like a Skool community on something like how to grow a gaming channel, as an example, then that won't convert really well. But a core audience video, maybe it's like how to get your first 1,000 subscribers and make your first $1 in under 30 days as a gaming channel. Now that title's way too long, like I said, just an example. Yeah. But like that is a lot more hyper targeted to a specific viewer or buyer that would convert into that Skool community. So yeah, sorry, that was a long version or long answer to that question.
That makes a lot more sense. It's like, the video title needs to be tied to who you're targeting, or else it would just not convert as much. And there's tons of people that I know that are struggling to even like show their face on social media. Let's just start there. Like, what would be some tips if you remember back to when you started? What would be some advice and tips that you'd have for people that have Skool communities? They have an offer, they have an expertise, knowledge on something, but they're struggling to even like post that first video out.
That's a great question. So first of all, you don't need to show your face, and you could still, make it, quote unquote, if you will. You can still do well. It'll just be a lot harder, right? And I do think with the increase of AI, that personal branding on YouTube is going to become a new currency, if you will, in terms of just, we're in a trust recession, faceless channel. I've worked with hundreds of channels at this point. Honestly, I mean, close to over 1,000. I've done faceless channels, AI channel, you name it. And then I've worked with a lot of coaches and consultants. Every single time, the ones that are like faceless or AI or whatever, they convert so much less. Because people buy from people. People trust people, right? So you can do it. It'll just be a lot harder. There will be a lot more friction. If you want to remove that friction, then you have to get over it and you have to show your face. What are some good tips that I can give for that? So a few things that helped me. It was more so in terms of confidence and on-camera presence, more so than getting over the fear of being of showing my face. But I guess the first tip I would give you is one thing I repeatedly and am constantly reminded of is nobody cares about you when you're starting. I know that sounds brutal, but nobody genuinely cares about you when you're starting. When somebody clicks and watches your video when you're starting, they care about one thing, and that is, what is the perceived value that I can get from this video or this person? I can promise you 99.9% of people who click and watch your very first few videos are not because of you. It is because of what they think they can get from that video. So understanding and just realizing that most people aren't going to really even care that whether it's you or not behind the camera, I think that's one, like a weight for me, that's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, right? Now, the second thing that helped me a lot in terms of just connecting with camera and just being, comfortable, I did two things. One of the things I did was when I sat down, I would just click record, and I would just start talking to the camera, put a timer on for anywhere between like 5 to 10 minutes and just talk to the camera. What I'm doing today, what I did yesterday, whatever. Wouldn't watch it. I would just stop it and delete it. And it would it was like a good warm up. And then the second thing I did was I would pick a person in my life who who likes talking about what I'm about to talk to camera about. And I like to look in the barrel of the lens and imagine that they're on the other side of that. So in my case, like my dad is also an entrepreneur, and me and him can talk for hours about YouTube, about business. So I pretend that I'm at a cafe talking to him when I'm looking in the lens. And I try my best to have that as like a secondary kind of thought process in my brain. I don't do that anymore. I'm really comfortable on camera now, but this is what I did when I started. And then just one little thing, like last tip I would give, I don't want to make this too long of an answer, but one thing that massively helped, I've worked with so many people at this point, and I've realized a pattern, which is when people hit record, I don't know what it is. It's like this psychological block that happens. They feel like the audience is already watching them. So they freeze up. They get stiff.
That's what I'm feeling right now.
That's what you're feeling right now. So a massive tip that I give people is to just remind yourself, put it on a sticky note if you need to, that nobody sees this unless you choose to get it edited and to publish it. The moment from record to publish is all up to you, unless you're live, right? So it's like when I remind myself of that, like you can just relax a little bit because literally you're putting this fake pressure on yourself that does not exist.
That literally just relieves pressure for me right now. Yeah, that was really solid advice. Thinking about that person behind the screen, and also knowing that you can edit things, knowing that you don't have to post it. I agree. For example, you've made 101K in a month from YouTube alone. What would be some tips if you were to look back for yourself, for example, to hit your first, let's say, 10K in a month from your organic YouTube? What would be some things you would tell yourself to focus on, let's say, the top like 3 things that are vital?
Yeah. So I didn't make it through YouTube. I made it with YouTube in the sense that like YouTube was the traffic source, obviously, to what my offer was.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I will say what I would do if I needed to make $10,000 with YouTube versus 100K is a bit different. I would have 2 different plays there. I think those are 2 really big different games, if you will.
Yeah.
That I never really fully understood until actually doing it.
Yeah.
I think the best advice I could give somebody is in terms of converting to, what did you say, 10K a month?
Yeah, at least 10K. I feel like that's the goal that most people have, and that is, let's say to make this like a full-time thing, if people were making at least 10K a month, let's somewhat consistently, I think they would be able to go full-time online, essentially.
Yeah. So you really have 3 core ways to make money on YouTube. You have AdSense, just forget about it. You have sponsors, which can be lucrative if you have an audience and you know who to reach out to and how to reach out to them. Like I've hit over 10K months with sponsors before. I just hate doing it because you become a freelancer to your own channel. And then third is having your own proprietary offer, right? Whether that's community, coaching, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be my play. So first, getting clarity on my goal is to sell my own thing. Now, in terms of actually doing it, I would focus on the 3 core levers that Gary Vee. So basically, these 3 levers are kind of tried and tested in what majority of people who talk about growing on YouTube all kind of have in common. But what really solidified it for me was when I was with Gary Vee at VaynerMedia. His team repeated this over and over. And it's a fantastic way to look at it in order to simplify everything. And it's basically make sure that you have everything dialed in terms of these 3 levers. The first one, and the most important, is making sure you have a good idea. Second is the packaging, making sure that your title and your thumbnail are dialed. And third is the value in the video. If you pull those 3 levers, it is unreasonable for you not to get traction on your channel. And continuing off that's not going to make you 10K alone. That's just going to bring in the traffic that you can convert into 10K. When it comes to actually converting, it comes back to what we said earlier. Make sure that you create an offer where it's strong synergy between the audience and the content you're making. Because if that happens, then you can convert it very easily. Keep it, Stephen Bartlett talks about this in the Diary of a CEO, the book. He approaches business in the terms of keep it as simple as possible, no simpler. So do like the MVP that you can do to set up whatever you need to set up. And again, to quote Hormozy, make the idea into action as little of a time process as possible. For example, the other day I was talking with a really big YouTuber, and we were like going back and forth on some potential ideas. And he actually gave me a really good idea. And that same day, I recorded, edited, and posted that video because I wanted that feedback loop as soon as possible. And I wanted to condense the idea to action time as much as possible because I know that based off that feedback, I can iterate and just get to where I want to get to faster. So that was a quick little tangent. If I wanted to make 10K a month, I would make sure I have all that dialed in. So to get the traffic, idea, packaging, value, and idea meaning it's a validated idea, which we could talk about if you want to go into that more in depth. And then I would make sure that you create an offer really good that has strong synergy between your audience and your content. And this is a big one that a lot of people get wrong. So I love the idea of communities, like for example with Skool. But if you're going to do it and you have a small audience, my personal suggestion based off of just what's worked really well for me and clients is try your best to sell annual over monthly if you can. Because if we break down the math and you want to hit 10K a month, you got to remember that on average, this isn't me being pessimistic, this is what I found that on average, about 1% of your audience converts. So if you have a very small audience and you convert on average around 1%, take that with a grain of salt, then the math doesn't math, right? If you want to scale to 10K a month on a low ticket, you have to sell medium to high ticket if you want to get 10K a month. Because just the conversions, it's like, I always find it amusing when people are trying to scale to 10, 15, 20K a month on a low ticket product when they have a small audience. Those numbers do not make sense. Yeah. So it's understanding the math of business as well. Understand what the average conversion is. My point is to essentially just know the math of business and then do the math accordingly to know, like, if you only convert 1%, what you have to price that 1% at, or to convert that, what you would have to price that at to get to your $10,000 a month. Basically just using math and proven kind of conversion rates to reverse engineer how much you need to price to that audience. And then in terms of like call to actions and stuff, I have certain strategies to go about that, but long story short, it's less about the call to action, or it's less about like the call to action or when you do the call to action. It's more about how you approach the call to action. I don't know if that was a clear answer that you were looking for, but if I had to make 10K a month, I would basically do that. I would get really clear on the numbers. I'd get really clear on the numbers, and I would make sure I'm focusing on having a really good validated idea, good packaging, good value in the video. And I would make sure that the offer I've created has strong synergy between the audience and the content I'm making.
Yeah, if you had to give, for example, let's say we had John that had, for example, he helped people build a book for entrepreneurs that want to, like Alex Hormozy and stuff like that, build a book to help grow their business. What would be, if you went to go through those three things, idea, packaging, and value, how would you go about an example of like a video if they needed to make a video?
So let's break this down one by one, right?
Yeah.
Idea, packaging, value. The idea, it's finding a video idea that has been proven to work before, stealing it like an artist, meaning you take the concept, you add your fingerprint to it and adjust it to what you want to talk about. And then ideally, you validate it. So I use specific tools. I'll try to refrain from, I don't want to promote things on your podcast, so I'll try to refrain from mentioning certain names. But I use certain tools where I actually go in, and let's say that I wanted to help somebody sell a book and create content on teaching other people how to launch books. I would go in, I would do research in this tool, and I would create a database, which is almost like a folder. And inside of that, it would be all of the top performing channels and videos in my niche or adjacently, meaning similar niches. And then what I would do is out of those, I would find the outliers. So an outlier is if I get 10 videos today, 10 videos on a video tomorrow, and 1 million videos on a video the next day, that video with 1 million views is an outlier. It's anything that's performed exceptionally better than anything else. What we want to do is we want to seek those out and we want to find them. However, that strategy is overplayed. Everybody's doing it now. So now the name of the game becomes competition. And there are very few ways to be able to find the competition of an outlier. So if Alex Hormozy makes a video and it becomes an outlier and you go and you take that outlier and remake it, it won't work 9 out of 10 of the times because 500 other people have already done that. And with the increase of AI and the sheer saturation, if we look at supply and demand, there is way more supply than there is demand of content being created right now with AI and all this other slop. And because of that, YouTube's cracking down a little bit more, making sure that we're being a little bit more authentic and unique and having polarizing viewpoints and actually coming out with valuable content. It does this through an AI tool it has where it reads transcriptions and all this other stuff. So that's why that doesn't work, which is why we also need to validate it by looking at the competition of it. So when I find an outlier, it's like, okay, what's the competition of this? Has there only been like around 5 other videos made around this? Maybe 10? Okay, interesting. Maybe I should make that, right?
So it's kind of like the up-and-coming outlier that doesn't have much people making videos on it, and then my chances of making a video, packaging it that way, will get a lot more views than if I were just to copy another video like POV, like Daniel Allen or Alex Hormozy's different, formats.
Exactly.
Thousands of people have copied. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. Now that's one way of doing it, and that's a more advanced way. And to be honest, a lot of people are you have to have this specific tool, a YouTube research tool I'm talking about in order to do that. You can do it manually, but it'll take you forever. So if you want the super stripped down, really, really, really easy way, which is less strategic, is you can essentially do one of two things. You can use vidIQ has a free Chrome extension, which I don't love vidIQ for a lot of things, but I will say for their free Chrome extension, that's okay. It's okay. And the reason I say that is because it at least gives you an idea of how many views per hour a video is getting from the YouTube platform itself and what the outlier score is roughly. It's not super accurate, but whatever. It gives you a better idea than nothing at all if you don't want to spend money or get a research tool. What I like to do is find outliers within my niche or outside adjacent niches. And then what I'll do is take a trending topic that I know is trending in my niche and then a trending topic that's trending worldwide and trying to put those two together. For example, right now I'm in YouTube education space, right? What's a trending thing right now? The YouTube algorithm is changing. This is a super trending topic in my space. What's trending worldwide? Honestly, arguably, even outside of the AI space, Claude. Exactly, right? You nailed it. In every industry, Claude's trending. So imagine I say, Claude Code just changed the YouTube algorithm forever. Right? Now I have a very likely to work video idea because I'm taking trends. I'm taking just what's proven to work off of trends right now. And just worldwide, expanding my TAM, my total addressable market of the potential performance, but also I'm taking niche specific trending terms like the algorithm's changing right now. And again, this is less strategic because we can't actually validate it with a tool, which I like researching, finding, and validating. But we can at least get a lot closer than 99% of people who are just coming up with ideas off the top of their head or using ChatGPT or Claude to come up with ideas. Please, for the love of God, if that's you, don't do that. That's why your videos aren't working, if you're wondering why they're not working. Don't use vidIQ to do your titles. Don't use ChatGPT or Claude to do your titles or come up with your video ideas. If you're wondering why YouTube's not working, that's why.
Yeah, I actually just saw it on your YouTube channel. I think it had 5K. I don't know how long it was been posted, but it had around 5K views.
Yeah, video's doing pretty well. The video I posted about how Claude Code's changing YouTube forever, that's why I used that as an example. Yeah, at first it was slow. It was doing a little bit better than usual, but just earlier today, it just took a huge tick up. So it's bringing in a lot of views per hour right now.
Tell us a little bit more about how you went about launching your free school, because I know you, without even you had some sort of wait list, if I remember correctly, and then out of nowhere you just had almost 1,000 members in a short period of time.
Yep. So I wanted to create a free Skool community, and I'm very bullish on Skool, as is like most people today. And I was like, all right, I want to create a free Skool community because I have a free lead. So beforehand, I had a free lead magnet, and that free lead magnet absolutely cleaned up for me. And I get it. Don't fix what's not broken. But I wanted a free lead magnet that I can be able to engage with people more. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to create a free Skool community. The thing is, I wanted to launch with a big community, and I didn't want that. You know, when you start a new community, there's like that weird phase where you get like one member or two members in, and you have to kind of almost explain why you only have one or two members in. And then you're like waiting for it to grow. I wanted to avoid that. So I essentially created tons of hype through YouTube that I'm creating like, hey guys, I am creating a completely free YouTube course, and it's going to be in a free Skool community. If you guys want to join when I launch, I'm only accepting a certain amount of members, and then I'm going to cut it off for a time. If you guys want to join, then you sign up below. And what did I do? I got their email. So I grew my newsletter, and I got people on a wait list. So almost people guaranteed to basically join right when it's time. Then what happened was about 7 days before, I sent them the link to request to join. So I had over 1,000 people who had requested to join. And on New Year's night, January 1st, while the fireworks were literally outside, I swear to you, my wife was pissed. The fireworks were going off. And like they were all trying to watch it like, oh, it's crazy. Look at the fireworks going off. I was at my desk right here letting the members in one by one, just accepting and approving every single member. I swear to you, I'm not exaggerating. There were fireworks outside of my window at my house. I was looking at them while just spamming the accept approve button on every person. And I launched with like, to be totally honest, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was like over 1,000 people. I launched like over 1,000 people, I think. I don't remember the exact number, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then that way there's like tons of hype, and people then seeing that your community with already 1,000 members, they're way more likely, I believe, to join. People don't like joining an empty community, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then basically what I did after that is I took the information that I did give away for free as the course in the free community, and I posted it up as a YouTube video, and I focused on dialing in the packaging. That did pretty well. That video performed pretty well, got tons of new members, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you posted what's the point of joining the community if you posted the free course? Well, you have resources in your free course that you only give away to them if they join their community. And then that's how I got them to go from YouTube to community. And then every single video after that, I would have the hook, and I would do, a lot of people tell you to do a call to action at the end of the video. Dude, I have made so much money from just changing that to doing a call to action right after the hook. And you have not earned a call to action to a paid thing, but you have earned it to give it away a free lead magnet. So what I do is after I would do my hook them in the video. I'd say, hey, by the way, guys, really quickly, if you want to join a completely free community where I give away a full YouTube growth course, you can get it in the first link below. That's it. 10 seconds or less right after the hook. And I still have a ton of retention, like 70% retention, because most retention graphs dip right after the hook and then sit around 30, 25%, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to capitalize on that 70%, because even if they click off, people like free stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
How much is the difference do you see versus people making CTAs at the end versus you doing like CTAs near the beginning of the video? How much difference is like in terms of maybe email list subscribers or Skool community members? Like what, like roughly numbers do you see the difference?
Yeah, great question. So you can't do a call to action to a paid thing right after the hook. You've not really earned it yet, right? So I will preface with that. But for a while, I wanted to grow my email newsletter for a while. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to do call to actions to free stuff, free lead magnet, just to get people in. So I created a really good free lead magnet. This was before I got on Skool, or at least the free Skool, because I've been trying to do Skool for a long time. But I was like, I'm going to create a really good lead magnet. I created a custom GPT trained on everything I know about YouTube. And I made it so good that I literally got to a point where I felt uncomfortable giving it away. I was like, I want to charge for this. And then that's when I was like, okay, this is probably a really banger lead magnet. And I did what everybody teaches you to do, right? After basically the middle part, 50% in the video, I'd do a call to action, maybe like, close to the end or maybe at the end, I'm like, hey, by the way, guys, free lead magnet. I got like a few hundred people in my newsletter. And then I had this hypothesis that when I was looking at my retention, I was like, dude, people want free stuff. If they're clicking on my video, it's clearly about YouTube growth. My free lead magnet's about YouTube growth. My free lead magnet's about YouTube growth. They're going to click on it even if they click off the video. So I decided, let's test it. And I started doing my call to action right after the hook, like I said. Within 60 days, so I was, for like a month or two-ish, I was struggling to get my newsletter to like just about 1,000 because the retention towards the very end, it's way, way less.
Nobody left.
Just by simply changing my call to action to the free lead magnet right after the hook, within 60 days, I had over 10,000 members on my newsletter.
Wow.
So you do the math. It's still to this day, I always do that. It works so well.
Yeah, that is insane. That's from like 1,000 subscribers in your email list to 10,000, like 10x after 60 days. Yeah.
Some people might argue that but they're not going to be as engaged email subscribers. Maybe, but I set up a automated sequence, which is a 7-day YouTube course through emails, which nurtures them and makes them start to really like you. And then you give away more value, a lot of what, not how. And they're like, okay, I've literally had somebody they were a dog trainer before. They told me that they got hooked by my free lead magnet and then clicked off my video. And they did this a few times. And then they ended up buying one of my most high ticket services that I was selling like 6 months later. So, you never know, the people who you think are like, oh, but if they click off that early, they won't be interested. They won't convert. Well, you never know.
It takes a different amount of time, and depending on, like you said, how many videos and how long they consume certain content. So it's just giving them more opportunities to consume content from you from different platforms, whether it's that, email list, YouTube, Skool. So yeah, that's why having a Skool is powerful, because you collect their email, you collect their number. Ideally, you have a course in there, you have calls. So there's so many touch points, posts, written posts as well, so many touch points and DMs to actually speak to them and get them nurtured a lot more. So from idea, packaging, and value, I think that the biggest thing most people, let's say Skool community owners or most people that I've speak to struggle with is the packaging / idea, and majority the YouTube side, because let's say their expertise in something, they have passion in something, they have the value. What they struggle is the idea for YouTube. They don't know what works and all of that. So packaging / idea would be where most people would get most value from.
Yeah, I think a majority of people think that they struggle the most with packaging, but in reality, a lot of them struggle equally with ideation. And remember, that's the first lever to pull. Above anything else, that's the first lever to pull. You can have good packaging, but if your idea sucks, it's not going to last. You can have a great idea and get away with some crappy packaging, but it still won't reach even close to its full potential, because unfortunately, it's not a watch platform. It's a click and then watch platform, which sucks. I don't like it, but it's how the game is.
How it is.
So we also need to get packaging down. Now, in my community, I literally am, this, I have been for weeks now, I've taken over 5,000 of the top viewed videos across niches, business and finance, entertainment, fitness, YouTube education, everything.
Yeah.
And I have literally just been studying it and creating this massive course for everybody in there. And I say that because this is really not sexy, but what I have come to realize is there are thumbnails in there with millions of views that are absolute garbage when you would just see it face value. Yeah. YouTube is it's a game of psychology. It's a psychological game. It's almost like with a lot of times back in, I don't know anything about ads really, but from what I've heard, ads are kind of the same thing. It's you need to psychologically create an itch in somebody's brain they feel like they need to scratch by only clicking or engaging with that ad. It's the same thing with YouTube. There are thumbnails with millions of views where it's just a face and few people know, and then text. But if you peel back the onion layers and you actually look, you see, But what is that text doing? It's evoking massive amounts of curiosity. When I say psychology, I mean you either evoke crazy amounts of curiosity, you evoke some sort of FOMO, fear of missing out, you hit on some sort of pain point, you hit on some sort of relatability, or anything adjacent to that, like any human emotion that gets somebody to click, that like that's the whole game of YouTube. It's like psychology. That's what I say when I say that. And the more thumbnails I study, because on this specific workshop I'm building for my community, it's like I am realizing more and more that it's just psychology. Like there are similar formats and there are a lot of patterns between, you know, little micro things. But at the end of the day, it's really that. It's like thinking, okay, how can I create a thumbnail that creates the most curiosity, that evokes an emotion more than anything else? Now, we could get a little bit more tactical, which is one way that you could do this is just find what's been proven to work. And the same thing with finding ideas, the same concept, reverse engineering. We do that with thumbnails as well. You could go into other outside niches that aren't yours, find thumbnails and find a way to make it applicable, right? Or you can really lean into like, again, I'm speaking very broadly here. I'm not getting tactical, like as tactical as I'd like to get, because I know that, you know, people in multiple different niches could be listening to this. And the advice I'd give is maybe slightly different depending on the niche, right? So overall, I think like the biggest tip is really understanding like the game of packaging is all psychology. It's hooking somebody, right? To get them to click.
The best performing video on my channel was the kid who beat Hermosi six times, and that, like, I didn't really understand why that worked, but now when I see it, it's like who's this kid? Like it creates like.
Well, right now you just created like I want to go watch that video right now.
Yeah,
because that just created. I'm super curious. Yeah, I'm super curious.
What does it mean to beat him? Like I finally understood why that it performed so well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I see perform really well is relatability. Like there is this guy in my community who has this video with like 80,000 views. And it's just a photo of him on the scale, and he's overweight. And in the title he said, "I'm 40, I'm fat, and something else." And like by all kind of like standards, like that was not good packaging per se, like by the quote unquote rules. But that's why psychology is more important than the rules, because 80,000, it was so relatable. There were so many overweight 40-year-old men that was relatable to that they clicked and watched, right?
Yeah.
So that's the packaging game. The idea game straight up is just finding what's been proven to work, low competition. There's so many different strategies for ideation now, but that's probably like the easiest, most commonly spoken version of that. And then in terms of like, I mean, this wasn't really a part of the question, but systemizing it and trying to
like
make it more
speed to
efficient.
action, like they mentioned earlier. Like I think a lot of people just don't want to be focusing too much on the editing. They just want to focus on their expertise and giving that value without worrying about too much of the other stuff, the editing, the packaging, a lot of that stuff. What are some things that you would advise them to help, make this process a little bit more shorter and like involve less of their, energy and time?
There's two viewpoints. One is if YouTube was easy, everybody would be doing it and succeeding at it. There is some level of sacrifice. Yeah. If you don't have the money to invest in it, you will have to invest some time into it. It is that simple. There is no ultimate shortcut. There are systems to fast track certain parts of it, but there is no end all be all shortcut. If you have the finances, but not the time, then you should leverage that to hire people or pay for systems to be created, which leads me to the second kind of field of thought here, which is AI. For example, now when I say AI, be careful, okay? Because I know I just talked crap on AI a second ago. And yes, you should not be doing AI the way everybody's doing it. What you should be doing AI for is the grunt work, because AI's gotten really good. So I use a tool, Nano Banana Pro. Every single one of my thumbnails, it looks super realistic. It's all AI. I used to pay $300 a video for my thumbnails. Not anymore. Now, there is no concept too crazy for me to do because I use AI. And the thing is, the key, I'll say this, this is the key if you use AI with anything content related. You have to be the brains and you have to have AI do the groundwork. For example, when I'm scripting, I will give the AI 2 pages of context with my polarizing, not controversial, polarizing perspective and unique stories and certain points I want to hit on that video. Then I give it to my Claude skill to turn it into the trained structure I've trained it on for YouTube videos. But I'm the brains. Because what everybody's doing is blending in to see a sameness, regurgitating, echoing every single other person because they're all going to ChatGPT and Claude and saying, write this script, here's my video idea. You are allowing AI to be your brains, and that's the biggest mistake. You need to be the brains of everything. Same thing with my thumbnails. I am the brains of it. I tell it, I don't say, hey, what concept should I do? I tell it the concept to do. And then I give it the right inputs to give me a really good output of that, right? Pro tip, create a character sheet for yourself if you're using AI. So I have like a thumbnail kind of JPEG, where it's a headshot, professional headshot, which you could even do on your iPhone, of my face, side profile, each side, back of my head, and then 2 full body shots, front and back. With that character sheet, I've literally, I bet you can't even tell some of my thumbnails are AI because it's that good. So my AI process, it went from me spending quite a lot of time trying to do revisions and go back and forth with the thumbnail designer and then paying $300 a video to now paying whatever it cost me, whatever pennies it cost me for every generation, if that. And then it saves me so much time. I literally can create thumbnails with the concept. I literally within 10 minutes or less for every video. And then in terms of scripting, my script writing process is literally 10 to 15 minutes. I kid you not, because I have a Claude skill I've trained on storytelling from literal books I've read, The Anatomy of Story. Shout out John Truby, the author of that. And to what the best practices are in terms of writing scripts for YouTube. It's trained on all of that. And what it's trained on doing is it refuses to write one line until I give it the context. The context being, for every video, what's my polarizing viewpoint or take? What's the transformation I want to get across? Explain in detail. Are there any unique experiences or stories that I could give of my own life or anything I want to give on this topic? And I have it ask me up to 11, sometimes 15 questions. I use an AI tool where I just talk to it, save me time.
Voice to text. Mm-hmm.
And I literally do the equivalent. I give it probably the equivalent of 2 Google Doc pages of context in about 10 minutes time because I'm just talking to it. So however long it takes to just talk to fill up 2 Google Doc pages is how long it takes me to do that script. I click enter and it gives me a perfect script in my voice, right? And then there are some things that you just can't sacrifice, like the time that you need to be on camera recording, right?
Yeah.
Again, if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was it's funny, these people join my community sometimes. They're like, hey, how can I just not pay money and not do it and get it done? It's like, are you messing with me? I'm genuinely curious. Are you messing with me right now? And they're deadly serious. It takes effort. It takes work. It does. It takes effort and it takes work. And it takes a lot of eating crap because there are going to be times where you have videos that everything's perfect and you think it's going to do well and it doesn't do well. Anything that performs, it performs for a reason. So if it didn't do well, it was user error. It was your fault to a certain degree. Where did you fail? Figure it out. Learn from it. Don't just take the failure and say, oh, I'll fail forward. Learn from the failure. Try to analyze and break down why that failed so that you can bring that and create a new hypothesis to your next video and then have it perform really, really well. I believe the same philosophy within business too. I took that same thing. I'd speed to action, idea to action, and basically creating hypothesis based off of the failures and analyzing those failures and then just executing on that as quick as I can. Honestly, that's been probably one of the most powerful things I've done.
Yeah, because I think you've had tons of, 13 businesses you've done in the past, and a lot of people would quit a lot sooner. So, speed to action, you would say, is a key important factor for so that you can
Yeah.
get the feedback loop.
I have a poster behind me. I don't know if people can see it or not. It says, "Don't call me lucky because I've tried more times than you've failed." Or sorry, I've failed more times than you've tried.
That's deep.
It is.
Yeah.
It is facts
But it's
indeed.
But it's true. Yeah. Tons of YouTube sauce. I think people will take tons of things from this, and actually the goal is not just, getting the information, but hopefully you guys are implementing many of the things that we discussed. I guess last question would be, Dylan, if all your subscribers on YouTube, your Skool community members, your email list, all of it was erased tomorrow, and you only had 60 seconds to leave for the audience about how to grow on YouTube, what would it be?
Make sure you obsess over dialing in and optimizing those 3 levers we talked about: the idea, the packaging, and the value in the video. And I mean, remember, value is subjective. A lot of people think that value needs to be life-changing advice, but when you go watch a Mr. Beast video, the perceived value you have is just to be entertained. Value can be as simple as being bored and now being entertained. If you pull those 3 levers and you pull them and execute them right, it would be unreasonable for you not to grow on YouTube.
Awesome.
That might have
Thank
been
you so
over
much,
60
Dylan.
seconds.
No, I think that was perfect. Thank you so much for spending your time and being on the show, on this podcast.